I'm so glad I have Vaush as the conservative whisperer that can tell me exactly what conservatives are thinking. This really makes my life more complete.
They want this because they hate you. It's because they're evil and they hate you. That's the only reason why, you know. They defy sociological analysis. They simply desire your suffering. I am describing the GOP right now. Republican voters are split between 3 categories.
But he's already listed 2 out of the 3 categories for Republican voters. He says 1/3 of them are just as bigoted, racist, homophobic as the people that they're electing, right?
Right.
And 1/3 of them are stupid and will do whatever the racist, evil homophobes tell them to do. So basically, they're racist, evil homophobes by proxy.
Right.
So we've got 1/3 left. Do you want to bet on whether they all turn out to be racist, sexist, homophobes? Are we gonna watch some? Are we gonna hate watch?
Ready to
some
watch
Vaush
some
or what?
some Vaush.
I want all of you to remember the hard time that you gave us about how we completely misrepresented
Michael Knowles.
Michael Knowles. Okay.
Yes. This video is called "Why Pro-Life Republicans Want You to Suffer."
Right.
Okay.
So I'm sure he totally gets Michael Knowles's. I mean, we were accused of being bad faith with Michael Knowles' position. I'm sure Vaush is good faith, right? Let's see. Let's see what he has to say.
Okay, listen up, people. I understand the urge to engage in sociological analysis, but first and foremost, it is critical to understand the fact that Republicans are demons wearing human flesh. You know, you can fault them.
He literally will fall back on the comedy show defense for this.
Well,
he's joking here.
Yeah, he doesn't literally mean they're demons. This is my I think this is what's happening. I think this is him desperately trying to get leftists to vote blue no matter who.
Really?
That's my interpretation of this whole video. So Destiny
thinks, and I agree with Destiny on this, that Vaush is just doomed because he can't expand his audience beyond what it is, because he's already monopolized all the crazy, insane bubble people. And the only way to grow his audience from here is to win over moderates and conservatives. That seems true to me, to be honest with you.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, like how big Hassan is.
Yeah, but people like Hassan for a different reason.
I guess that's true.
Hassan. First of all, Hassan is funny and not really condescending. But
whoa, that is not true.
Vaush comes off as completely condescending.
They're condescending. They're both condescending in completely different ways.
Listen, even if he intends to be condescending, the stuff that he's saying is Hassan. Even if Hassan intends to be condescending, the stuff that he's saying is so incredibly stupid that nobody could ever take it as condescending.
It backfires. Oh, you're right. He's too stupid to be condescending, is what you're saying. Okay.
It's like somebody coming out, and they're just, oh, you dumb fuck. Don't you realize we should be able to fight the cops? It's like when there's like the little, it's like when there's the teeny tiny little dog, it's yapping at you like it's some giant threat. And you're like, oh, it's so adorable. It's this tiny little thing. Doesn't know how small it is. So you look at Hassan, you're like, oh, it's adorable. He doesn't realize how stupid he is. And you just pat him on the head. It's the same exact. You got it perfectly.
Okay.
You got it perfectly. But with Vaush, it's a completely different thing.
Right.
Vaush, it's like the little dog yelping, but it's super ugly and it looks like it has fleas, and you don't want to touch this dog. Like maybe it has rabies. It's not cute.
Okay. So let's see this. Republicans are demons wearing human skin.
Right.
Democrats for being incompetent or maliciously incompetent. I mean, and you can, and you should, by the way. I encourage you to. But most Democrats, you know, I don't feel they're actual envoys of Satan wearing human flesh. Republicans, however, this is a requirement for entry. And I want it to be known, and I talked about this a little bit on Twitter, but I think it's very important to insist on this. Anti-abortion, pro-forced birth advocates do not give a single shit about the unborn. This can be evidenced in a variety of ways.
I do like the pro-forced birth. I mean, it's not rape apology, but it is a step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. So pro-forced birthing people don't give a shit about the life of the unborn. That is the hypothesis that is being laid down here. Do you think he's going to, and he says he has evidence for this. Do you think any of that evidence will ferret out?
Of course not. I mean, look, I made a similar argument, and you gave me a hard time saying that it was not a good faith interpretation of their position.
Right.
But I at least brought evidence to the fucking table, did I not?
Okay.
Did I not detail that they're making this other argument that's kind of a karma argument about, you know, you did the crime, you got to do the time. I mean, that's
right. We should have watched. I mean, we couldn't because we talked to LP. We should have watched this directly after the Michael Knowles video, just to show to highlight the difference.
Maybe we fucked up.
Well, when we clip it, should we clip them separately or clip them together?
It'll be like 5 hours if we clip them together, and we can't do that. People,
I guess you're right.
Shit their pants. They'd be like, why not just fucking link to the stream?
Right. Okay.
First of all, what are two very basic, common sense policies that everyone who sincerely cares about fetuses would support? Anyone who doesn't want abortions, right?
See, Vaush knows the language here. He's like, I'm not saying baby. I'm not saying child. I'm not saying human life. He's like a fetus.
He's very aware of the rhetoric game, obviously.
Yeah. Yes. And this is why he's not being chosen by Michael Knowles to come on his show, because he's like a tough... I would love to see Vaush talk to Michael Knowles about this stuff, because like I said, it's the two extremists. But she just fell into every one of Michael Knowles' trap. Vaush is like, hell, bitch, you're going to fall into my trap. Right?
Right.
You would want two things. You would want access to free contraception because you want every birth to be deliberate because...
Okay, that is completely unaware of Michael Knowles' position, because as we said, as it was said in the Superchats, Michael Knowles is against contraception.
Right.
Yeah, on religious grounds. So,
well, there's two issues. Is that a lot of the pro-life people, not all, but a lot are like also against contraception for religious reasons. But then also it's the question of, first of all, there is a lot of free contraception that is available to people, and the question is, and this is generally the conception. This is what he misses for all of his arguments, which is really stupid. Generally, people on the right don't want to spend money paying for other people's shit.
Right.
And so why should anyone else, like, just because people are pro-life doesn't mean that they should have to be responsible for someone else buying a box of condoms or someone else, buying the pill or whatever. Right. Why is that their responsibility?
If you really wanted to save this baby, you would support me.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the argument he's making. It's completely sort of nonsensical, at least the way he's making it.
Right.
I think you can make an argument that there should be, for the pro-life side, if they want to be more persuasive, that they should argue in favor of some of these positions. I think that's fine. But that doesn't mean that the pro-life people, because they're not arguing against this stuff or for this stuff, doesn't mean that they don't actually care about the life of the child / fetus.
How long before he makes the argument, if you really cared about the baby, you would end capitalism? I feel like that's I feel like that's around the corner.
That's the implicit argument. Okay.
You don't care.
If it's not deliberate, that increases the likelihood of abortion. And you want prenatal care. Those are the two big ones. Sex ed as well. No, three big ones. Sex ed.
Look at that. He's just amends on the fly. Yeah.
I know.
Here's another big one I forgot.
Prenatal care subsidized by the government.
Well, they don't want to spend the money. Why is it they're going to say, and I don't agree with this position, but they're going to say, why should I have to spend my money to pay for you to get prenatal care, pay for you to get condoms?
Right.
Why is that my responsibility? Why is that not your responsibility?
You know, there's a way that you don't need any of those things. It's totally free for everyone. Don't fuck anyone.
Well, though, I mean, you could make
That's
some argument say
position.
like, listen, I'm anti-murder. I'm anti-rape. Okay.
Right.
Does that mean I have to like pay people not to kill other people?
You do. You do. I'm sorry.
You do? Is that how that works? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he would
pay
counter by saying, well,
them.
that's what you're paying the police for. But they're not, I mean, I don't know. They're kind of catching you after the fact in a lot of these situations, not like preventative. So
funny.
Government free, the way civilized countries do, and access to contraception.
Oh, and then I was going to say, and then for the sex education one, again, this isn't my position. I actually disagree with this position. But the counter to that would just be like, a lot of the people that are anti-sex education think that the sex education promotes people having more sex.
Correct. Yeah.
And so, which I think is untrue, but this is why this is so stupid. He's like, because this is basically what Vaush is doing. He's like, oh, the people on the right don't actually believe what they're saying they believe. And my evidence for this is a bunch of left-wing talking points.
Right. Yeah.
And like the left-wing worldview, it's like, okay, yeah, the arguments make sense to you, Vaush, because you're on the left. But obviously those arguments and that worldview doesn't make sense to people on the right. That's why they don't hold those positions. Like, this is literally like child's politics 101. Everyone thinks the way that I do. And so if they come to a different conclusion, it must be because they're evil.
Yeah. That's basically Vaush's whole brand, though.
This is just so ridiculous. This is so ridiculous.
This is why people like him, though, because people are completely unsophisticated. They just want someone that agrees with them. And if you have super dumb takes like this, more people are going to agree with you because more people have super dumb takes.
I guess it's sad, but
well, they're looking. They just inherently they believe all conservatives, all Republicans are racist, sexist, homophobes that just want to see people suffer.
Right.
I mean, this is laid out in Haidt's book. He does a brilliant job. I can't remember what chapter it is, but he basically says, their perception of Republicans is that they're heartless, cold-hearted, uncaring individuals.
Right.
Yeah. They don't see any value in any of the moral foundations that conservatives have. So therefore, this is the way they see, and they just force that lens onto everything.
Well, I mean, the thing that's annoying is like you don't have to find value in them, but you have to acknowledge that they exist, what they are.
Right. Personally, yeah, I say this all the time. My intuitions are bleeding heart liberal. Okay. I have to fight against that because it's just sometimes tough love is appropriate.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Sometimes you need tough love.
Yeah, you got to fight your intuitions. That's part of growing up.
That's part of gaining free will. It's fighting your intuitions.
Correct. Yeah, but Vaush just has a view of the world that he's a dragon slayer and conservatives are the dragon and they're just
the dragon.
Yeah. It's so funny that he's like a debate bro and stuff when he doesn't really understand any of the arguments I mean, maybe he understands them technically, but he doesn't value any of them. He doesn't understand how people could value them. I mean, there is value in the law of karma, is there not? It shouldn't. If people do the crime, they should do the time.
Sure. Well, I mean, there's value in people thinking karma is real, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, sometimes you got to be the karma cop. That's for sure. But.
Right.
Republicans support none of these. In fact, they're opposed to all three. Republicans are against access to contraception. They are against sex education, and they are against any kind of positive changes to our healthcare system. They do not care. What is prenatal care? Care for a pregnant, like making sure the womb's healthy and everything, making sure everything's going on well. They do not care. Okay, the reason they care is because they want to control women. That is it. That is, at the end of the day, that is it. Okay.
Yeah.
This is so stupid. Does he? Well, here's my question. Does he actually believe this? Or is this just what he's trying to sell to his audience to make them vote blue no matter who? Because I can't really tell.
I mean, this is pretty common mischaracterization of conservatives.
Yes.
So, I mean, he could pick this up watching Joy Reid.
Does he know better? Or should he know better?
No, I don't. I really don't. Yeah.
You don't think so? You could be right.
I think people give Vaush a lot more credit than he really deserves. I do not think Vaush is like a super smart person in any way, shape, or form.
Well, nor do I, but that's a different conversation.
Right.
I just can't believe it. They just want to control women's body. Like, that's such a fucking meme. Okay. Okay. Let's see where this goes.
To the conservative, women having sex outside of the socially ordained, divinely ordained, controlled format of a monogamous marriage is sinful. It is degenerate. And
I mean, this is what LP basically said, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But see, this is what's bullshit. He understand that is true for someone like Michael, but then Michael has a reason for why he doesn't agree with all that other stuff, and it's not because he wants to control women.
Right. I mean, can't you make somewhat of an argument though that, I mean, he's talking about, he believes women's highest aspiration is being a mother. Isn't that somewhat trying to control women?
No, how's that trying to control women?
Well, you're saying being a mother is the highest thing that you can be.
Well, that's not what Vaush is talking about. Michael Knowles and a lot of other religious people.
Why does he have a marshmallow stuck to his ear? I'm just curious.
I think, he has that really disgusting growth on his ear.
Right.
Because when he was a dumb high school kid, he put those giant gauges in your ears that fuck up your earlobes.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming that he had some kind of surgery to remove that growth or get it fixed or something.
Oh, okay.
I'm assuming that's what we're looking at here.
Okay.
That's the marshmallow. But you totally got me off track.
I'm sorry, but I just couldn't.
Controlling women. No. So religious individuals like Michael and other people like that, they do, and I would assume if you ask them this, their primary concern when it comes to abortion is that they do think you're getting rid of a life. You are extinguishing a life.
Right. It's not about controlling women. It's about saving the baby.
Right. Because this would be like saying the conservative responses would be like, oh, I'm against murder. And then you say, oh, you're not really against murder because murder is wrong. You just want to control people.
Right.
And you're like, well, I mean, I guess technically I don't want people to murder each other. So I guess that's a form of control.
Okay. I guess you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it sounds like Vaush is sort of making the handmaiden's tale argument. Like they just want to control women's bodies because they're evil, because they're the patriarchy.
Right. Yeah. Because they get off on it.
Right.
They like
because women are scary. Yeah.
But even with the responsibility argument, like you had the sex, you had the fun, now comes the responsibility. That is not really even a control women argument. That's
not really, no.
Because they would say the same thing about the guy. Like,
right.
Yeah. What do you mean? You did it. Like, now you're getting married, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right. You're a husband now. Take care of your kid. So it's not really about women.
Right.
Yeah.
The primary agent of this degeneracy is, of course, the woman. Now, Republicans don't care that much if guys sleep around. You know, this is very basic sluts.
No, okay. Now he completely jumped the shark here.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, like here, wait, let me go back
Play
a
a
little
little
bit
more.
so you can hear this full sentence.
No, I
Agent
can't.
of this
I can't
degeneracy is, of course, the woman. Now, Republicans don't care that much if guys sleep around. You know, this is very basic slut shaming logic, right? Like, you know, you can talk about monogamy all you want, but when guys sleep around, it's like, hey, you know, and if girls sleep around, they get shamed and like kicked out of their social circles in a lot of conservative places. In like the Bible Belt, girls will lose everything if they're accused of being a slut, and guys.
The thing that he's missing. Should I keep?
No,
There's a giant thing he's missing though. Like women slut shame other women more than guys. Like fucking slut shaming is woman on woman violence. Like,
sure. Well, that's obviously Vaush that's not gonna compute to him. But how's a guy who, you know, born and raised in West Hollywood? Okay, he's talking about the Bible Belt and the cultural conceptions of that Bible Belt. Like he watched some fucking like West Wing. Like he watched some like very left wing conception stereotype of it. He really thinks that in the Bible Belt of places, everyone's high fiving guys for pump and dumping women.
No, that's
like, what the fuck
not
is
remotely
what is he,
true.
This is like insane. This is completely insane to me.
In the Bible Belt, like if you pump and dump some guy's sister, like a bunch of guys are going to show up on your fucking lawn
with guns. Yeah, like this is like what are you talking about? This is so detached from reality.
Yeah.
This is so coastal elitist, like he has no clue what he's talking about.
Like all the girls' brothers and dad are all going to be high-fiving. Yeah.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. No, not really.
By the same, I mean, we're talking about divine social standards here, right? You'd think it'd go both ways, but of course it doesn't. It's about controlling women. And when you have legal abortion.
Now there is an interesting evolutionary reason why society is more permissive of male promiscuity than female promiscuity, but that's a conversation that I don't think Vaush could actually have.
Vaush is incapable of having that conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So
Vaush has never heard the term paternity uncertainty. Vaush does not understand. Vaush does not understand that men generally like women that they don't perceive of as being slutty. And the slut shaming is done by other women to lower their value as they're competing for mates.
Well, and also, you know, there are, I mean, and this came up in the video we watched where Vaush was trying to say everyone should be polyamorous.
Right.
You know, he obviously doesn't buy into any biological sex behavior as being an evolutionary trait, and that men and women have completely different, well, not completely different, but men and women can have different reproductive strategies based on the way their gametes work. And this is true of all non-human animals as well. And they all kind of manifest very similar mating strategies.
Well, men have two reproductive strategies.
Yeah.
Robert Wright lays this out perfectly in the book The Moral Animal. That book is really good. And he talks about this Madonna whore split, that men have a stereotype of a Madonna and a whore, and they have completely different reproductive strategies based on whether or not the woman fits the Madonna stereotype. You know, obviously the woman I want to marry and spend the rest of my life with, or the whore stereotype, which is the woman that I want to fuck and get as far away from as humanly possible, right?
Right.
So, but Vaush doesn't understand these two mating strategies, and like all of this would be completely going over his head. So it'd be interesting to see how the evolutionary thing fits into his worldview of Republicans don't care about, Republican men just treat everyone with the whore stereotype.
Right.
And no one with the Madonna.
When you have sex ed, when you have access to contraceptions, in the mind of the conservative, you are facilitating a degenerate lifestyle. You are building for people the availability of that that lifestyle. Which,
see, this totally contradicts. He's saying they're using the Madonna stereotype and the whore stereotype at the same time.
Yeah,
that's a giant contradiction.
They want every act of sex done by a woman to carry weighty consequences that they will have to deal with for basically the rest of their lives.
That was your argument.
And don't get me wrong.
There was a cut there. Did you notice it?
I wasn't looking up, no.
Wait a second here. That was my argument.
I know. I know.
Are you? I mean,
that's why I was trying to talk you out of your argument, Adam. I didn't want you to have to agree with it.
Well, anyway, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. That was Michael Knowles.
That's actually not true. I forgot he made that argument.
This was Michael Knowles' argument, though.
It wasn't.
He's basically he's taking the argument that Michael Knowles, the little argument that Michael Knowles made, and saying that's the only argument Michael Knowles is making.
Well, I don't think Michael Knowles made this argument, but
he did. He said consequences.
I don't want to relitigate this conversation with you, but
wrong, by the way. Right now they're going after abortion, but they will go after contraception. They already have. Republicans famously just a few years ago made a strong effort to prevent birth control from being one of the obligated aspects of healthcare that workers, what was it, the hobby.
Vaush is totally slipping here. He's never done the so annoying
lobby, right? Hobby Lobby. That was
this isn't a fair point either. Because what he's talking about is that Hobby Lobby, they didn't want to pay for, I don't even think it was condoms. I thought specifically they didn't want to pay for Plan B stuff because they said that violated their religious rights.
Right. Hobby Lobby is a religious company.
Supposedly they are, yeah. So to just say that as a blanket, because he's framing this like it's a blanket ban on contraception, which, yeah, there are some conservatives that want that. But I do not think the mainstream normative conservative view is a complete abolishment of contraception.
Well, and I don't get, because you can't get contraception at work, it's suddenly unavailable to you. It's
I know. You can't.
What the fuck?
That's true.
Go buy some condoms at the grocery store. You fucking
I know.
moron.
Save up. Is it really that hard for you to save up money to buy condoms? I mean, is that a privileged thing for me to say? I don't know. Maybe it is.
I don't know that birth control is that expensive either, but
I think the pill is. If you're on the pill,
is it?
I don't know. I think it is. I'm sure it's not cheap, but
I don't think it's that.
I'm sure it's not. I'm sure condoms are significantly cheaper than the pill.
Okay.
The place, their Supreme Court decision, so they don't have to provide birth control. They want to, and you can look all over the place for examples of this. There are plenty of openly anti-contraception Republicans at the federal and state level. You can find examples of them making an effort to legally distinguish certain.
Someone in the chat says it's time for your natural right, ladies. What does that mean? All caps. Look at that. Is that a troll or what? It's time for your natural right, lady.
Types of birth control in a way which makes them overlap with abortion.
Yeah, Vaush's chat. I'm checking out Vaush's chat.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
All progressives can be reversed. All progress can be reversed.
Yes.
Conservatives have never employed many. Oh,
sorry.
You can find examples of them making an effort to legally distinguish certain types of birth control in a way which makes them overlap with abortion.
Yeah, but this is very dishonest because he's framed this all like he's acting like, oh, conservatives don't believe anything they're saying. They don't actually have some principle they're operating under. You know, it's all just a ploy to control women. It's like, well, no, some conservatives are just against all contraception. Some conservatives, I'd wager a lot more, are fine with condoms and they're fine with the pill. They're just anti-abortion. And the day after pill is kind of a gray area because if your argument hinges on the idea that life begins at conception, then taking the day after pill, wouldn't that be an abortion?
Yeah, that's a baby murder.
Because isn't that what it does? It kills the zygote after it's been fertilized.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, so I disagree with it. I think the morning after pill is fine, but the people who feel that way, it's not like some weirdo secret 10D chess underwater argument. I mean, it's consistent with the life begins at conception position.
Right.
This is such a dishonest way for him to frame the conversation. But I guess that shouldn't surprise me because look who we're talking about.
Manuel Jimmy in Vaush's chat says girls get kicked out of Christian colleges all the time for getting pregnant, but the men usually face no repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
So unfair.
Does anyone think that's actually true?
No, of course not. Yeah.
Oh.
The men get beat the shit out of by the dad.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on where it is.
Someone thought we were bad faith in this conversation.
Where legislatively, they push against abortion, but, what is contraception if not a preemptive abortion? There has actually been an effort to...
What is contraception if not a preemptive abortion?
This is such bullshit.
He knows that this is... He has to know this is like...
He
retarded,
doesn't...
right?
He totally has... He's never met a conservative. Vaush
this can't be real, right?
Vaush has never talked to a conservative in good faith. Like, he has no idea what their ideas are.
This has to be like a fake thing. I don't think he actually believes.
Oh, you think he's lying? Well, he's either lying.
This is a crazy thing to say.
He's either dishonest or stupid, and I'm leaning towards both.
Say condoms are a preemptive abortion.
Right. Well, I guess. Okay. How do you have a preemptive abortion?
I don't know. It's literally not possible.
Life begins at conception, but pre-life.
Yeah, pre-life.
But pre-life begins.
Pre-life, yeah.
When you put the condom on.
Right.
Yeah.
Legally cordon birth control in a way that fits it in a similar category. And this is part of a broader process to legally disenfranchise access to reliable forms of birth control. IUDs, birth control, whatever, the shots that you can take, the implants, the goal would be to make these things more expensive, less accessible, and to impose essentially government penalties for the provided availability of these forms of contraception. If you don't think they'll do that, then keep in mind that for decades it has been illegal to fund abortions with tax dollars, even though abortion is a constitutionally protected right. And
if this was true, if this idiotic argument that he's making was true, some like 10D chess control women thing, wouldn't Republicans be in favor of abortions? I mean, I hate to be the guy, but I'd be willing to wager that if abortions were illegal in America, most of the people who weren't aborted would be far more likely to be future Democrat voters than future Republican voters.
Oh, you can't say that.
Am I not allowed to say that? Is that a bad thing to say?
Why are you?
I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing based on like socioeconomic class of people.
I don't know why you're
who
saying
are
that.
Disproportionately getting abortions.
Okay.
Well, no, it makes sense because think about it. If you're a Republican, you're less likely to get an abortion unless you're not going to get an abortion.
Right.
So all those babies are born. But if you're on the left or you're a Democrat, you're more likely to get an abortion. So that's a bunch of Democrat voters that are potential future Democrat voters.
Right. I guess you're right.
So that's why, like, if there was some, that's what I'm saying, like this bizarre 10D chess argument, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I know a bunch of people who say, You know, I think abortion should be legal, but I would never get an abortion.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. That seems to be like a common position, but
I mean, I don't know if they've ever been tested on that, but I've heard that.
You're like, let's try that out. Let's see if that works. Get a little Sitch,
and even though it is
Sitch baby going.
I would listen. Sitch is anti-cucking, okay, in all directions.
Right.
Okay, in all directions. That is the degeneracy that Sitch.
I don't know what that means. It wouldn't be cucking if you were like
if I'm the one doing it, I'd be cucking someone else.
If they're married, but
yeah, wasn't that what you're talking about?
No, you just get a girl that you like.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see.
No, I wasn't talking about it.
Okay. Okay.
Sitch, if you're dating a married woman, please stop. Okay.
I would never.
I'm not in favor of that.
Well,
I'm
okay.
actually
I don't know if I'd say it. Listen, I like to say never.
Oh God, no.
I'm just kidding. I would never. Of course not. I would never.
Undeniably a form of healthcare, it has been law that abortions can't be funded with tax dollars. Planned Parenthood funds their abortion programs, a tiny fraction of what they do, through donations, not through tax dollars. This is the case everywhere. It's just legally prevented. And they'll do the same for others. They will go after condoms. You think they won't? Take a look right now at the way conservatives are talking about the epidemic of grooming. You know, are you gay in public?
It's funny because this is the equivalent of the if you allow gay marriage, you're going to allow people to marry animals next argument.
Really?
He's making a slippery slope argument.
No, I love that he brought up the grooming thing. I love the fact that it's making an impression on them. They're like, oh yeah, we're all groomers now.
They have to address it. That's why they're so angry about it. It's so effective.
When I see the word progressive, I just think groomer now. I do.
That's
when
funny.
I think left wing, when someone says left wing, in my mind I hear pedo.
You hear groomer.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're grooming. Have you ever even thought about being transgender? Congratulations, you're a groomer. They were very concerned about false allegations 5 years ago when Me Too was the big flavor. But now, I guarantee you this is going to happen, okay? Conservative parents are going to start walking through their local Target. They're going to be in like the CVS section, and they're going to see the condom section. They tend to have the condoms behind like the locked drawer because people steal condoms all the time. So they tend to have it behind the locked like glass case or the plastic case, right? There are going to be pictures of them. They're going to take a picture of that and they're going to go, why when I'm walking through the store with my kid, do we see stuff like this on the shelves? What is this, a sex shop? Not at my gas station. No, do you think they wouldn't do this?
Hey, how come CT never edits out our fuck ups? I mean, there's like an edit. There's a lot of edits in here. What's going on? How come our editor doesn't make us look good like this?
We don't need to. What do you mean? We never make mistakes.
Why is Vaush doing so much editing here? There's a lot of edits in here.
I don't know what you're talking about, Adam. It's just fake news.
There's a lot of edits in here. Are you noticing this? It keeps bouncing.
I'm not, because I'm not really watching it because I don't have to look at Vaush.
That marshmallow, I'm ready to roast marshmallows after this. This live stream is making me hungry for some roasted marshmallows. You ever roast marshmallows?
Of course. What do you had the whole conversation about starting fires.
They're so fucking good.
On their own, I don't think they are. I think they're good in the s'more with the chocolate and the graham cracker.
The Vaush's chat says, look, guys, just don't have premarital sex and you won't need condoms.
Well, this is so stupid because, like, yeah, there's going to be some, like, fraction of crying right-wing Karens that are going to complain about condoms being in CVS or something. But, like, that's not...
Is there? I'm not certain there is.
There's probably some tiny amount of them.
CVS?
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt.
In the fucking drugstore?
There's going to be some fraction of people that complain about that. But that's, like 1%, if even 1%. It's such a tiny fraction of people. Like, to act like, oh, once they get rid of the abortions, then they're going to take condoms out of the CVSs. Like,
right.
give me a break.
The Democrats, they want to put condoms at the McDonald's. They want it like right in your fucking face. They want condoms in a full dildo section, like right at Mickey D's. Like you're ordering your Big Mac, and they want, oh, you need some condoms?
Well,
you need some morning after pills?
That's a good idea.
You need some morning after pills with this quarter pounder and cheese?
I think that's amazing. I think McDonald's should not only have condoms, they should have antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication that you can get with your meal.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone here think this is a joke or an exaggeration? Do you really think they wouldn't do?
Ding, 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 ding.
No, it's not a joke.
Exaggeration.
No,
yes.
It's real.
This? Oh, of course they would. That would be step number one. It's really, really, really difficult. They already do this, don't get me wrong, but like I'm talking Tucker Carlson segments. I'm talking like full-blown conservative coverage of this. You know, they're going to talk about how this is a form of grooming. Why would you expose children to stuff like that? And what the goal of this is going to be to try to push for public support for legislation.
By the way, he's comparing having teachers explicitly teach children about like gender identity issues. He's comparing this with kids walking by a CVS and there being like condoms on the shelf.
That they're not even going to notice. I mean...
Right.
I don't know. How many condom stands did we walk past when we were kids and I wouldn't know what that was. Jeez. It's just
no, because like, yeah, because
they don't have like they don't have the condom on a big dick. It's
true. And they're usually in like the adult diaper maxi pad section.
Right. Yeah.
But little boys don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Section. And because I know like
at the CVS, you're in hell anyway.
Well, yeah, I know like we didn't have CVS when I was a kid. It was something else. I forget what it was called. It's like Eckerd's or something.
Oh yeah, I remember Eckerd's.
But yeah, and there was always like the one toy aisle section.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm at.
And you're like, yeah, I'm going to the toy aisle section. It's got little Legos. They're like little random knickknack shit that you fuck around with while your mom was waiting in line for 3 hours to get a prescription back in the days. Because why did everything take so long back then?
Yeah, because you had to wait in line.
No, but I mean, like, it's like still occasionally if you go to a pharmacy, there's like a long line. But I feel like they've become so much more efficient at giving people medicine now.
Yeah. Pharmacy's getting their shit worked out. The way that Vaush wants it set up, though, is he wants those condoms right in the middle of the toy aisle. He wants a toy aisle on each side, and the condoms right in the middle. That's what he wants.
There you go. I like it. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do it.
Against the legality of having condoms and other forms of topical, does anyone use spermicide? I've never heard of anyone using spermicide in the modern day and age. But, whatever, stuff like that, from being available in, like, regular stores. And then it would just be in the sex shops. And mind you, if we live in a world where the only place you can get contraception is by physically going to a sex shop, not a healthcare clinic or just a regular store, we've already lost, This is effectively an unacceptable degree of inaccessibility. Right off the bat. There's no limit to... Yeah, also that means people under 18 can't get condoms too, which is perfect for Republicans because they love impregnating their child brides. This is their goal, okay? Now, I know what you're...
It's a comedy show.
It's a comedy show, Adam. It's comedy.
I mean, that was obviously a joke, but...
A little bit.
You're thinking... Why would they do this? Why would they want, like, well, what's the goal here? Like, this isn't economically or socially beneficial. No one's lives are better because of this.
I'm so glad I have Vaush as the conservative whisperer that can tell me exactly what conservatives are thinking. This really makes my life more complete.
I know. People were saying, you guys don't understand the conservative argument for pro-life. So, you know what? You're right. So we thankfully can turn to people like Vaush to explain it to us.
I feel so much more informed now. This is great. This is an asset. This is a resource.
They want this because they hate you. It's because they're evil and they hate you. That's the only reason why, you know. They defy sociological analysis. They simply desire your suffering.
Yeah, they just fucking hate your guts.
That's the only thing.
I never watched this video. I had no idea.
Is this video amazing?
Crazy.
Yeah.
They just love your suffering.
They just fucking hate you.
They live for your suffering.
I saw this when it came out, and I was like, this video is batshit fucking crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, live for your suffering.
That explains their behavior. You know, you can trying to understand their motivations is like trying to understand the motivations of a Captain Planet villain. You know, I'll drive an oil tanker out into the middle of the Atlantic, then blow it up so that we get oil to cover all the fish. You know, okay, why? Because they're a Captain Planet villain. That's why. And because they're Republicans. And Captain Planet villains are all Republicans. So, you know, that also fits. Are you describing the GOP or your average Republican? I am describing the GOP right now. Republican voters are split between 3 categories in relation to this particular subject.
Nuance,
First of all, you have the hardliners who are as morally reprehensible as the people they elect, okay? A good portion of Republican voters are just also that evil, you know? It's not like we live in a country where there are people who oppose interracial marriage, people who will kick out their LGBT children if they ever come out, you know, people who will firebomb abortion clinics. These aren't elected officials doing this. These are Republican voters. So, yeah, there are a lot of Republican voters that are just that evil.
A lot.
You know? There are Republican voters who are weak-minded, stupid, or otherwise easily swayed, and will just sort of follow the tide of whatever information they consume. At the end of the day, you know, people care about what they're told to care about. If you're already watching Fox News every day, like, they've got you by the hook. You know, I mean, like, Tucker Carlson can go on there and say what.
This is very telling. I feel like the mask is slipping here. He's just telling his audience. He's like, he's in this spot for his audience.
Oh,
he's basically saying, you know, people just, people are just stupid. They'll do whatever you tell them to do. Just like I'm telling you right now.
I mean, I agree that that's true, but I try not to engage in that behavior intentionally for that purpose.
Yeah. But Vaush wants political power, and he knows the way to get political power is to get people who will do what you tell them, vote how you want them to vote. Yeah. Which is his whole game plan.
Whatever. And like,
he's talked about wanting a super PAC, Sitch. Wanting to start his own super PAC.
That's true.
I mean, that's how you get political power. You say, I'm going to deliver this many votes to you.
Your political positions are just going to be crafted into whatever mainstream Republican narrative they're trying to sell. I don't think these people are evil in the same way.
At the same time, he's trying to sell a narrative that all Republicans are just evil bigots.
Well, he just said they're not, but he's sort of being very, I don't know. His argument doesn't even make sense here, because it's like, I mean, I guess he doesn't believe or agree with that theory either, because he's saying that, like, oh, all the Republican politicians are just evil intrinsically for some bizarre, nefarious ideological purposes.
Yeah, they're evil bigots.
Right, but it's like, no, they're doing that because they're satisfying the whims of some voter base that they think exists.
Listen,
like, they're more motivated by this kind of cynically than the voter is. I don't like. He thinks the politicians are more ideologically motivated than the voters, which to me is as a joke if you think that.
Well, first of all, it's completely incorrect. Yes, you're exactly right. It's a incorrect view of the entire situation here. But he's already listed 2 out of the 3 categories for Republican voters. He's separated the elected leaders and said they're reprehensible, bigot, racist, sexist, homophobes, right?
Right.
Just on their own motivation, not that they're responding to voters. And he's laying out the people who elect them. And he says 1/3 of them are just as bigoted, racist, homophobic as the people that they're electing, right?
Right.
And 1/3 of them are stupid and will do whatever the racist, evil homophobes tell them to do. So basically they're racist, evil homophobes by proxy.
Right.
So we've got 1/3 left. Do you want to bet on whether they all turn out to be racist, sexist, homophobes that are just...
I don't remember who the last third was.
Okay, so here, let's see.
Their outcomes are, I mean, they're still voting, but, you know, I don't think they're doing it out of a malicious desire to see the degenerates suffer. I think it's just, I think
hold on. That's kind of a weird place to cut, don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that cut?
I didn't, no. Go back.
In the same way. Their outcomes are, I mean, they're still voting, but, you know, I don't think they're doing it out of a malicious desire to see the degenerates suffer. I think it's just, I
don't think they're doing it out of a malicious desire to see the degenerates suffer. Cut. What? Who's editing his performance together? I want to see the real performance.
I think a lot of people just follow the wave, basically. And then I think you have a decent number of Republicans who have, like, hook issues that, like, they're like single issue voters, and they care so much about some things that they're willing to make sacrifices on other things. Keep in mind, I think this was posted by SDL on Twitter, but there is not a single state in the entirety of the United States which has more than 30% of its constituency in favor of revoking Roe v. Wade. In every single state in the United States, Alabama, Mississippi, Idaho, in every single one, 70% or more. Here.
So he trails off. He never really answers. He says they're single issue voters, but what is the single issue? Racism? What is the single issue?
Yeah, he's saying they're single issue voters. That's not abortion. They'll just go along with it anyway.
Right, but a lot of Republicans are single issue voters, but the single issue is abortion.
Right. But a lot of I'm sure there's a lot of people that Republican that are kind of iffy on abortion, but they care more about other issues too. So
sure.
Here we go.
I think
this was data for progress.
The end of the interesting part.
Okay, so we can stop.
Yeah, it was at like the 12-minute mark that I was like kind of not worth watching anymore. Kind of goes into other stuff, but there you go. Republicans are all evil, and they just hate you, and that's why they want to control women's bodies, because they're demons.
Yeah.
See, you thought that was a joke when he said that Republicans are demons.
Yeah. I wish we... Yeah, I'd like to ask him, because now I have a whole new outlook on Elon Musk's brain chip, the Neuralink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because they just want to.
He just wants to control their bodies, so this is like the perfect way.
Yeah. See, the Republicans shouldn't be afraid of the brain chip, because Elon Musk will give you the brain chip, and it makes everyone vote for Republicans. So.
Right. And controls women's bodies so that they
control their bodies. Yeah. It will. Oh my God, the brain chip will like force your body to induce abortion somehow with chemicals in the brain.
I was thinking more like it would make all the women against abortion.
Oh, that too.
Yeah,
that too.
Just fundamentally against abortion.
I see.
You would ask them, "Are you pro-life or pro-choice?" And the brain chip would just they'd go, "Oh, I'm pro-life."
Did we not have porn spamming till we started watching the Vaush video? What's going on here? Yeah, should I be sus? Okay.
All right. How many of you guys did we win back on the Vaush thing?
Adam played the funny video I put in the AET channel on the Discord.
I don't have Discord.
I'll go open the Discord.
I'm going to play some of these back rooms.
Well, there were some GIFs that CT sent that you
some
can play.
GIFs.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show, and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.